Hi everyone, welcome to my tutorials on Pandas tutorial for bioinformatics. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to rename columns in a Pandas data frame. So let's get started. So first of all, you need to make sure you have Python installed and you also have Pandas installed. If you don't have Python installed, don't worry, you can visit the Google Colab platform, which is here. I'll leave the link to this page in the description box. So when you are here, you can click on New Notebook to start a new one. Or if you have clicked outside this box, you can come to File and come to New Notebook. So click it, and then a new notebook is going to be opened for you. So when the new notebook is open for you, then you can start typing your command. So this is how we begin our exercise. So I'll go back to my Jupyter notebook. So first of all, I want us to do this. I want us to first import pandas. I've already written it here. It's just a comment to let you know that we need it, but I'll just clean it and restart. So I'll say import pandas as PD. So I'm going to load it, and then I will load the example data. All right, so for the example data, we have one already. Let's check it out. Let's open this one here. Yeah, so this one here. So there's an example data that we use. So for those into bioinformatics, this is gene expression analysis results. I use the SIG tool to generate this. So if you're interested in learning how to use the SIG tool to perform gene expression analysis and generate results like this, then check the description box. There are links to videos you can use to get started. All right. So on this page, yeah, I repeat, the link to this page is in the description box. All right. So if you don't have the link, don't worry, just check the description. The link to this very page is there, so you can use that to get access to this file. Okay, so let's do this. So when you're on this page here, come to raw, click it, right click it. All right, let me just repeat. So on this page, right click it, and then go to copy link. So this will copy the link to this file. All right, this is the file that we'll use. Alternatively, you can click on raw. When you click on raw, you'll be sent to another page like this, and then you can copy the link that has been displayed for you. So you can use any of these approaches to get the link, but I'll just get a link here, and I'll move to my Python environment and then load it. All right, so here we are loading via the internet, so that means we need to define the link to the file. So I'll just say file link. I can even say file address. Anyone is fine. I mean, it just needs to be descriptive. All right, I'll use this one. I'll say link to file equals, and because it's going to be a string data type, I'll just do this. I'll just put everything in double quotes. So I have my two double quotes, and I'll paste the link in there like this. Okay, and then I'm going to run it to make sure that the variable has been created. So I can test by saying link to file, or I can just do a print. Let's say print link to file. Okay, so if I do it, I should have the link display for me. So once it displays, that means that everything is fine. So you can now load the data. So I'll say df equals pd dot read csv, not csv. Yeah, so this brings me to another point. So with pandas, if you are loading data and it's a csv file, then the delimiter is comma, so you don't need to specify any other option when you are reading. But if it's a csv file, you need to specify an option. What we are dealing with is a CSV file. All right, so we will still say CSV, okay, like this. That's how we are going to read it. And then I'll bring my parentheses and I'll say link to file. And then I'll bring a comma and I'll say sep equals, and I'll say /t. So this T represents the /t. Yeah, this /t represents a tab character. Anyway, I have a separate tutorial that shows how to read files. And so if you want to get the full details of these stuffs reading files, then check the description, you'll find a link to that video. Okay, so let's run this command. So we have run it, and so the file has been loaded. You can just do a df.head to just do a quick exploration, and we have our data there. You can also do a df.columns, and this will display the column names. All right, so we have everything. So this is a tabular form. So for this tutorial, we are looking at how to rename columns. So I'll move straight to that. For exploring DataFrames, I've covered some tutorials. So again, check the description. You'll find the link to my introductory video on Pandas. All right, introductory video on Pandas. So you can just do that to get started. Okay, so let's just say we want to rename this one here. Let's take a look at just one of the. Let's say we want to rename this one PADJ. All right, that's P and S7. Let's say we want to rename it. Let's say we are renaming PADJ to, let's say, PADJ, like this. Or you can use any name of your choice. That's also fine. I mean, it's fine if you can also use a different variation. Then that's how we redo it. We first need to get a dictionary that has the old name and then a new name, and then we can feed this to our Pandas command to rename the column for us. All right, so that's what we do. I'll just give a comment here. I'll just say create a dictionary objects that has the old name as key and the new name as the value. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. Let me just do this. Okay, so this is how it's going to be. So we are going to create a dictionary object. For those who are new, I have a tutorial on dictionaries. So if you want to get a detailed explanation of 4 dictionaries, then you can check out for that video as well. All right, so let's proceed. All right, so this is the dictionary we'll create. I'll just say name dict like this. I'll say equals like this. I think I'll zoom in a bit. Yeah, this should be fine. And I'll bring my curly brackets, right? And in it, I'll specify the old name, that is PADJ. And then I'll bring my colon, and then the new name, that will be PADJ, like this, right? So this is going to be the dictionary that we'll create. So that's the first step. You can just say name. Let me just do it. You can say name. It's just to display the dictionary. I'll just retype it here. There's a code, so I'll just retype it. So there's the dictionary. So everything is fine. So now the next step is to use the data frame method rename, right? So you'll just say we have the df here already, the data frame. So I'll say df dot rename, and then I'll bring my parentheses and I'll say name dict. I'm specifying the dictionary, okay, the information here, and then comma, and I'll say axis equals 1. All right, so this is important. The axis should be 1 if you are renaming columns. So this is going to be the final command to rename it. So let's execute this command. Perfect. So now you see that the column has been renamed, right? So we have it here. Okay, so that is it. Now, it's not only about renaming one column. You can also rename multiple columns. So it's the same activity, the same step. By this time, you add all the information here. So let's try to rename multiple columns. Let's say, yeah, okay. Now, before I even talk about renaming multiple columns, we will come back to rename multiple columns, but let's look at this one first. Let's look at this. We have the df here, all right? If you take a look at what we've done, we had a df that rename. It has been renamed nicely, all right, with this command. But let's type df. If you type df, you'll see that the old name has returned. All right, this is because what we did, we performed the activity all right, but it was just for display. the changes were not made permanent. So there are two ways to go about it if you want to make the name permanent. Approach one is to assign the operation to a variable. All right. So let's say making the renaming permanent. Okay, approach one is to assign the renaming operation to another variable. Or let's say to a variable. We can say to a variable. All right, like this. And so in that situation, then we are going to just do a copy and paste. I'll show you. I'll just do it here for us to see. So here's the operation, right? So we can just say df underscore renamed equals, I can do it like this. So when I run it, if I say df underscore renamed, I'll see that the new name has been given. All right, so that's it. You can still assign, you can still do this. Let me just do it here. You can still do this. You can still say df equals df dot rename, and that will also work, and then to update the df itself, that's also there. Okay, so that will still replace the original table with this new one here. That's also possible. All right, so these are all approaches for renaming columns. Now let's look at approach 2. Use the in place arguments. So for that one, that's how we do it. So for the in place arguments, what happens is that the changes will be updated. I repeat, when using the in place argument, the changes will be updated. The changes will reflect on the table, the original table itself. Let me just put it that way. And so for that one, you say it's the same command like this. And this time in it, you bring a comma and you place this one here. So we say in place equals true like this. You place the in place arguments in it like this, and then you execute the command. So let's execute this command. Perfect. Now that has been done. So if you do a df, you will see that the changes have been reflected. All right. So these are the two approaches that you can use to make the change permanent or to make the change persistent. All right. So these are the things we need to do when we are renaming columns in a Pandas data frame. Now, earlier on, I made mention that it's not only about a single column, you can also rename multiple columns. All right. So let's try that one too. Let's try it. Let's say you want to rename this. Let's say this, and then this. You can rename all of them as well. Okay. So let's try p-value, lfcsc, and then start. Or you can use any column of your choice, any 2 columns or 3 columns, that's also fine. So in that situation, it's still the same approach. We create our dictionary. Let's do this. Renaming multiple columns. So you create a dictionary. I'll still use name dict equals, I bring my curly brackets like this. And then in it, I'll place my information. So I'll start with p-value. Okay, let me just define them here. Let's say p-value. You rename it to p-value. And then let's say lfcsc. Let's say lfcsc. Let's do like this. And let's say starts. You rename it to, let's say, starts like this. Okay. So these are just comments that I'm just giving just to help us, because I'll still leave this notebook on my Patreon channel so that those who want it can go for it. So I'm just giving this comment for those who will download the notebook. Okay, so now we have the information there, so we can just put them here. So p value, and then you say p value, that's the first entry. For dictionaries, a key value pair, two key value pairs are separated with a comma. So I bring my comma, then LFCSC colon LFCSC comma, and then starts with what? Starts with uppercase S. So this is our information. So we run it and then we will just call it named it. So now we have to rename. So I'll say df.rename. I'll bring my parentheses and I'll say name underscore dict, comma, and I'll say access equals what? 1. And then this time I'll make the changes persistent. So I'll just bring a comma and I'll say in place equals true. Right, so this is it. All right. So that's how we do it. So you execute this command. Perfect, that has been done. So if you do a df now, we are going to see that the table has been changed. All right, so we have the new names. So this is going to be our assignment. I want you to rename this one, the base main, change the B to uppercase. That will be your assignment for today. All right, so try that and then let me see how it goes. Okay, now for those who want the notebook, I have it available, so just check the description box. The link to download this notebook is there. I repeat, the link to download this notebook is there, so check the description box, you'll find the link there. And for those who are interested in learning how to use Python for machine learning tasks, this playlist will help you get started. So this playlist contains tutorials on Python for machine learning tasks, and there's one that I want you to check first, that is how to predict cancer using gene expression datasets.